In this video, I'm going to cover some specifics about the Bechtel fusion team and what to do, how to behave, what things to avoid, and how to get yourself added. So the first thing I'm going to start with is motivation. Why does the Bechtel fusion team exist? Why do we need to use Bechtel's fusion team? Why can't we just use our own fusion team? So if you have Fusion installed, by now you should already know that when Fusion comes installed, you get a chance to create your own uh, team. And most of you probably clicked that create team button. So here's my team. It's named after me. Quite simple. Unfortunately, the reason we want you to use our team is number one, sharing of files. So there is your own team is central to you and nobody else has access. So you can't really share files easily. By being on the Bechtel team, you, peer mentors still don't have access, but at least it's a lot quicker and easier to give them access. If you were to try to share content within your team, giving them access would be challenging. There would be giving them access, them having to get approval, and then them selecting accept, joining your team, then accessing your file, assuming you also gave them access to your file. So there's a lot of handshaking that happens. In fact, you will be doing that handshaking when you're added to our team, but you'll do it once instead of you having to do this multiple times with all the peer mentors you work with. So sharing of files is easier. The second reason is more why Fusion and why not something else. Everyone in Purdue can use it. So Fusion's not isolated to engineering or Polytech or ECN or ITAP. It's all accessible to any Purdue student, meaning that the Bechtel Center doesn't become restrictive by picking a CAD environment that only a subsection of students can access. The third motivation, this is again why Fusion. It's to do with version history. So you're a student, you will be making mistakes, or there will be modifications, or there will be improvements and feedback from people. So it is useful to have an environment where you're not going back and forth with different files flying across emails. In Fusion, you take this file for example. I have 30 versions of it. I can track all the history of this file, and I don't have to have 30 different versions floating around. I can access any of the versions. So, version history. Another big motivation is, and this is for the Fusion team, it's for auditability. Not auditability, audit. I'm just going to say audit. So this is a just me file. There's no other interaction. However, with a normal file, there will be a few interactions from people in your team, people in Bechtel's peer mentor team, and this should capture that history. What that helps us do is, let's say we made a bad recommendation, or let's say we made the correct recommendation and you had a bad implementation. We are able to trace that down to a very specific version, see who interacted with it, see what changes were made. Let's say a machine crashes. Why did the machine crash? Why didn't we catch it before? What changed? It allows us to isolate down to the group of people who were involved in that mistake happening. So we are able to cater our education specifically to that group of people, and this small issue is just not lost in conversation, it is recorded and can be referenced in the future. And the last main thing, the main reason you're really here, is shared resources. Some of the things you do in the Fusion team do not require any of our resources, but if you're going to use any of our CNCs, you're going to need a lot of our pre-built resources. And instead of individually providing everyone the files and then trying to push new files whenever we make changes, we centralize all our files to the Fusion team. Everyone gets access and everyone's able to see an update the moment we push it. So hopefully that gives you a bit of motivation. I can just show you like tool libraries. These are all there, hundreds of different tools, different cutting combinations, values all over the place. So everything is there. You don't have to keep exchanging files to get all that information. Now let's talk about the dangers. Danger number one. Uh, since everything, the way Fusion is designed, Fusion's not really designed for, Fusion team's not really designed for a student makerspace. It's designed for engineering teams at corporations. So the concept of protecting files is still new to Fusion. So this is my personal folder. I would not want anyone else coming into my personal project. I would not want anyone coming into my project and making their own files. So it's very important that you do not just work in any project. You create your own project and work within that project. Or you join a project belonging to your team or club and you work within that project. So that's the first danger. Others projects you don't mess with. This is the second danger. If you mess with someone else's project, they might be annoyed, but this will be a single person or a single group problem. However, there are some projects that are system wide. So things like CAM references, work holdings, let me find NetShare and assets folder. These are system wide resources, meaning everyone who's using our resources depends on these folders, whether they realize it or not. Meaning that if you mess with these projects, we will have a massive problem because you would have affected hundreds, if not thousands of people. Now, we don't have thousands, we have about 1,000 people on this team. So it's a large number of people to affect. And you need to ensure that you do not mess with these projects directly. Now, some of them should be blocked. So things like the work holding stocks and machines, you should not be able to mess with it. But others are not blocked, like CAM references, NetShare, and assets. Now, it's not like we don't want to block them. It's just by the nature of how CAM works, we cannot block them while still making the resources available to others. So you just have to keep in mind not to mess with any of these projects. And just to give you an example, do not go in here and then start creating and saving new projects in this location. Only do so if you're instructed to do so. Okay. Now at this point, I'm going to switch away from danger and start talking about sharing, and then I'll come back to danger. So first thing you need to know about Fusion is your projects are not automatically available to the peer mentors. So you take this project for example, not everyone in the peer mentor team can access my personal project. By default, I get to choose who accesses my personal project. So you can go to the people tab and you can add the necessary people. Now, the management here is a little bit more complicated, so let's work at it with an example. What I'm going to do now is switch to the web interface, which is also a way you can administer the Fusion team. So I'm going to just actually come over here, and this is the web interface. Let me create a dummy project, demo project training, and I'm going to put this create project. So it's creating it. Now, right now, if I go to members and permissions, so I'm the project owner and I have full access, and the administrators have full access. Now, keep in mind, peer mentors are not administrators. They do not have full access. Now, if I want someone to have access, so let me think of a peer mentor. I need to explicitly add them, and I need to give them permissions. So the permission I'm giving them, and if I want them to just see my files, I will give them reader, but more likely you'll need them to edit your files, and you'll give them editor. And for some reason, if you wanted them to manage your files as well as give other people access, you will make them manager. I do not know why, but if you needed to have them have the ability to delete things forever, you could also give them administrator. Most commonly, you'll be giving them editor privileges. So I gave him editor privilege. Now, at this point, I have 3 people or 3 groups that can access everything. The admins can do everything. The project owner, can do everything. And Anuv can access files and make modifications to them. And only then can Anuv access your project. So make sure that you are actively sharing your project. Now, with that comes a nuance. What if I was working in a team? So instead of Anuv being a peer mentor, he's in the same class and we're working on a project. I created the project. I added Anuv. Well, if I gave Anuv editor privileges, he cannot add other peer mentors. So if Anuv was on the interface, he would not have the ability to add other peer mentors. Now, unfortunately, I cannot show that to you since I'm also an admin, meaning I'll have access to everything. But effectively, someone at an editor level cannot add other people. So when you are working with multiple people, you need to be mindful that this editor privilege might not be enough. What I recommend instead that you do is you give them manager level, and that gives them the ability to manage members and set access levels. So with that, they should be able to add other peer mentors if they are the ones here in the center working with us to get their CAM approved. Hopefully, the need to share and the need to manage permissions is now clear. Now I'm going to roll back. So at this point, there's a small fork. Uh, if you are not going to use CNCs, mills, lathes, water jet, gantry, you can skip ahead of this section and try to look for the student team section. So for the people who are going to use CNCs and are going to make CAMs, there's some important information. So there are a few more resources you need to be careful about. So let me get to Fusion. So I'm in the manufacturer environment. I have a few libraries I need to be aware of. So a lot of them are listed here. So tool library is an example of one. And here I want you to pay attention to the following. So the first one is cloud, local, and documents. So in order, documents, cloud, local. Whatever says cloud, these are shared resources. You cannot modify them directly. You cannot go in here, change this name, or go in here and modify anything here. Now, let's say you needed to modify a tool, you would copy it into your document. So it looks like I have one already copied. I'll copy another, and that's copied. And here I can modify it. I can call it 1/8 if I like. I can do whatever changes I need to do. But I need to make sure that that happens outside of cloud. Another location you can do that is local. So local and documents, you can do that there. Now let's say you were loading a custom tool. You might want to do that in your local. Just do not mess with anything in the cloud. Now, just like there's cloud for tool libraries, there's also cloud for machine libraries. And you see the same concept, document, cloud, local. Similarly, I'm not going to, oh well, it opened up, but I'm not going to open these up. You do not want to mess with the cloud of tool libraries. You do not want to mess with the cloud of machine libraries. You do not want to mess with the cloud of post libraries. You do not want to mess with the cloud of template libraries. I just want you to remember that. Now, do not be worried when you are making a change or an edit to the tool in your CAM. The moment you add it to the CAM, it either goes to your local or to your document. So it automatically comes out of cloud. The information I gave you is mostly relevant when you're directly accessing the tool library. So hopefully that is clear. Now what we are going to do is move on to the uh, Purdue club section. So again, if you're a member of a Purdue club that uses the Fusion team, this section is relevant to you. Otherwise, you can skip ahead to the getting added to Fusion section. So before I continue, I'm just going to put these dangers down. Don't mess with cloud in libraries. Okay, so this is the last danger. And this is less of a danger, more of a problem for you and your team. So here I can, add members that are already on the team. However, I can also add members who are not at all on the team. So I'm going to put in my girlfriend at purdue.edu, add. Okay. And I think if I hit done, it will proceed. So effectively, what you have to understand is if I did click add, that person will now have access to my demo project. However, they would not have access to any of the shared resources that they need in order to do CAM or any other CNC process. So what that results in is, from their perspective, they will go to Fusion, they will see Bechtel Center, but they will not see any of the resources, and they will be really confused why they can't access any of the resources. The reason they can't access any of the resources is because they're a part of the project but not a part of the team. For them to be part of the team, they needed need to be added to the team by the center using the standard process you are currently in. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to quickly delete this project since it's just for demonstration. Owned by me. Archive. Okay. Mismanagement of project members. Okay. Now we're getting to the last part. How do you get added? You understand all this information. Let's just go over the information again. We are on Fusion, so we can share files and everyone in Purdue has access. We can access the version history, so we don't have 10 different copies of the same file. We can audit, so we can isolate problems down pretty well. There's a lot of shared resources. The major dangers are I cannot mess with anyone else's projects. I cannot mess with the system projects. I can't mess with the cloud section in libraries. And I need to be mindful of the people I add to my project and make sure that they're also part of the team. I need to share everything explicitly, and I need to manage permissions. I'm going to tell you how to get added, and I'm going to also give you a disclaimer section. So to get added, you need to give the Fusion quiz. Now, when you do the Fusion quiz, which I'm going to put on your screen, here's the Fusion quiz. Take a second, maybe QR code scan it and give the quiz. Now, here's what should happen. When you give the quiz, you will have the ability to check your answers. Like if you make mistakes, you can view your results and see whether you pass or fail. And you need 100% to pass. If you make a mistake, understand your mistake, maybe watch this video again, and then submit the quiz again. Now, if you fail, and what happens is we'll have an entry on an Excel, and at some point within 1 to 2 business days, 1 to 2 days, someone from our team should, okay, I have no idea what's happening there. Someone from our team should check the Excel and add you to the team. Now, when they add you to the team, what's going to happen is in your Outlook, I'm not going to open that. I'm just going to keep that closed. In your Outlook, in your junk mail, there will be an invitation to the team. Now, obviously, we understand that you cannot sit around waiting for an invitation in your junk mail. So, in addition to getting that invitation from Fusion directly, we will also send you an email giving you instructions saying go to your junk, click on the link, do this to verify that you're on the team, and you're good to go. That's if you pass. If you fail, you'll receive an email from us saying, hey, you failed. Please watch the videos and try again. If you're consistently failing through multiple attempts, we might have to direct you to staff who will evaluate you in person. Hopefully that clarifies how to get added. Just to repeat, you give the quiz, you have to get 100%. We see that you got 100%. We send you the official invitation from Fusion and send you an email about how to accept the invitation. The official invitation will end up in your junk. The message from us should end up in your inbox, and you use that message and accept the invite and start using Fusion. If you fail, you try again. If you Don't try again. Immediately, you eventually get a mail from us saying try again. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. So that's how to get added to the Fusion team. Now, a few disclaimers. Number one, not data storage. I do not believe, or we do not believe, Fusion team was designed for hundreds of people. We believe that Fusion team was designed for a dozen or so engineering employees, and that's it. So we are really pushing the boundaries of how much a Fusion team can handle. That often results in odd behavior. So, unfortunately, a practice we have started is just switching teams every now and then, or deleting people who have been inactive for a while, or deleting files that are too big. So, just so you're clear, we're not a data storage. You cannot assume that just because your files are on the Bechtel team, they will stay there forever. They will not. If any files violate any of the things that I just said, they will also be cleared out. So make sure you maintain copies of your files in some other place and only use the Fusion team for the purpose of CAM. Making that clear early so nobody is surprised. And the next thing is vandalism. So I have explicitly laid out ways you can mess up things. Some of you will accidentally still mess up. Some of you will not pay too much attention to this video and thus mess up. And some of you might, be unhappy with the center and choose to do what we have told you not to do. Now, you have to understand that the center is a place where you make mistakes, and mistakes will be treated as mistakes. But if a mistake comes from bad intention, you are vandalizing Purdue property, and we will use whatever mechanisms Purdue allows us to stop you. Number two, if you're breaking things because you skimmed through the video, you skipped all the information, you just trialed and errored the quiz, we will also pursue whatever mechanism Purdue allows us. And at the very least, you will not be allowed to join the Fusion team. So please do not uh, take any of the information I just provided lightly. Understand it. If you have any questions, any specific nuances you want to understand, please do reach out to us and hopefully we'll be able to help you out. That's all for this video, guys. Hope that's all the information you needed.